Dr. Elizabeth Latham here, and today I wanted to talk about a paper called Evaluation of Bioactive and Physicochemical Properties of White and Black Garlic from Conventional and Organic Cultivation. And this is out of Warsaw University, and the journal is Applied Sciences, and I had never heard of Applied Sciences. So I looked it up, and its impact factor is 1.689, and it's open access. So it's kind of like, is this a predatory journal? So if you haven't heard of what a predatory journal is, it is a journal that will take scientific articles and have them published, but it's not real science. There's been some really famous examples of papers getting published by Beyonce or Lady Gaga or people that are dead just to prove that this isn't, a rigorous process. However, Applied Sciences is indexed with PubMed, and it's not in the list of predatoryjournals.com/journals. And so I think it's good to go. And just looking at their methodology and reading it, I can tell that it's, really high quality science. So go Poland, making some good science, breaking some stereotypes. Anywho, so this paper first goes into the history of garlic as a functional food. And a functional food is any sort of food that provides benefits beyond just the nutritional value. So this could be, basic health, prevention of disease, anti-aging. And garlic, honestly, is probably one of the most well-known functional foods out there. The research benefits on garlic are, antiviral, antiparasitic, antifungal, antibacterial, due to a wide range of the bioactive compounds that this paper goes into. They also go into the history of black garlic, which is really interesting. It's shrouded in mystery. People theorize that it came out of, China, Japan, or Korea, but we're honestly not sure, and we don't even really know how old it is. It gained popularity about 10 years ago, but it's kind of fascinating. Then they go into how raw garlic changes nutritionally as well as flavor and texture-wise when it's transformed into black garlic. And then my favorite part of the study is they compare conventional garlic and organic garlic. And that's why I chose this paper, because I am fascinated by organic practices and the differences that people find. Unfortunately, this paper doesn't specifically go into what organic cultivation is defined as. In the U.S., organic means basically grown without chemicals derived from petroleum products. It also excludes genetically modified organisms and several other things, but the bulk is the exclusion of petroleum-based pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides, et cetera, and fertilizer. So what's interesting is when people think of organic, it's not necessarily reflective of what's actually happening. Organic has very little consequences on how green or natural the product is, or the nutritive value, which we will go into more in this paper. So, into the nitty-gritty. The total antioxidant activity was nearly double in black garlic compared to white conventional garlic. And then when they compared organic black garlic to conventional black garlic, it had 15% more antioxidant activities. And why is that? It's because of these, what are known as phenolic compounds, which were higher in black garlic and then also higher in organic compounds. And these phenolic compounds reduce and inhibit free radicals in the body. You probably heard of free radicals. They talk about them a lot in skincare. And you can think of a free radical as a molecule in your body that was created by some sort of stressor. So that could be like smoking, exposure to environmental toxins, alcohol, stress. And once they get inside your body or are made in your body, they start doing damage to cells. They're also kind of the crux of the aging mechanism that we all know and love and combat. So you get antioxidant properties from these phenolic compounds, which counteract the effect of free radicals. And then you also get antioxidant effects from black garlic and garlic from these organosulfuric compounds, the most famous being allicin. So those are also incredibly abundant in garlic and then even more abundant in black garlic. So why would organic black garlic be better? Well, the author notes, they don't actually discuss it that much. This paper is really weak on discussion and really heavy on results. So I'm just going to kind of think about it a little bit. So the authors note that the organic garlic had higher sugar content, more flavonoids, and in addition, the polyphenols. So basically, the organic garlic had more of what we call secondary metabolites. Why would organic plants have more secondary compounds? That's a good question. And this is just me. This is not the paper. This is just me thinking. So oftentimes, organic plants are more stressed. They are not smothered in herbicides and pesticides often. They can be. They just have to be that non-petroleum-based herbicides and pesticides. So just because it's organic doesn't mean it wasn't exposed to a pesticide. But oftentimes they're not. And so in that case, they're more stressed, which means the plant has to mobilize its own defenses to combat against all the things in the world that want to eat and destroy it. And one of the ways that it does that is through these secondary metabolites. So that's one theory. Alternatively, and this is one of my favorite theories on why some studies find that organic is more nutritious than conventional plants, is conventional plants just grow faster and bigger in general, and it just has a diluting effect. So if you have the same amount of, these organosulfuric compounds in a garlic that's this big versus this big, the relative content is going to seem lower, well, it is lower than the larger garlic, and produce produced under conventional means has a better chance of being bigger. So that's another theory. But I think one thing to think about that's really important when it comes to organic that I just like pointing out to people is, so like let's say that a thought experiment, that you have strawberries in a greenhouse in North Dakota in January that are grown using organic fertilizer. Now compare that to strawberries grown in California picked at peak season during the summer, but using non-organic pesticides. Which one is going to be more nutritious? Most likely the ones that are non-organic grown in California. And that's why when you look into the science, comparing organic and conventional cultivation, it's all over the board. There's just no consensus. So if you have anybody in your life who is saying that organic is always better because of nutrition, you can't use this paper because they did find a benefit, but there are hundreds of other papers that find no difference because of the way that we define organic practices. So another thing that's really important to point out is differences in organic versus conventional and soil health. So soil health is very reflective of how nutritious the plant is going to be, because that's how they're getting nitrogen, sulfur, et cetera, iron, et cetera, et cetera. And organic practices do not have strict standards in the United States in terms of soil health. And that's something that we really need to work on, because soil health isn't just beneficial to us in terms of human health, but also just entire ecosystem health. So carbon sequestration, root structure, floods, if you have like really strong soil system, it doesn't all wash away and the water doesn't go downstream and then, inundate the town. So that's something that I'm hoping in the next couple years to decade that really starts becoming more standardized, and that people can read on a label and say, oh, this is actually a green product. This is actually a product that is environmentally friendly, because a lot of people equate organic with environmentally friendly, and that's not always the case, even a little bit. So at the end of the day, if you are buying organic because you want a more nutritious product, I would consider maybe pushing back on that a little bit and consider buying things that are in season. That's almost always going to guarantee that you're getting the most nutritious product possible. And then the other thing is just shopping the perimeter of your grocery store. That's just kind of an old rule that I think works really well, because you're basically going to be getting the healthiest, freshest food if you stay on the outside, with the exception kind of being frozen produce, which I think is amazing, and canned tomatoes. Those are the best because they're picked and canned when they are the freshest and most flavorful, where the tomatoes that you get in the actual produce section had to be picked when they were hard so they could survive transportation. But obviously, a big part of a healthy diet is eating regular garlic every day if you can, and maybe some black garlic too, if that sounds good to you. But thanks, y'all. I really appreciate you tuning in, and let me know if you have any questions. Bye.